Hey guys, Congresswoman Cammack here. It is Wednesday, January 11th. It is 9:45 a.m. I am here in our office, and I know you guys have been asking for this Facebook Live update for a while. It has been obnoxiously crazy up here. As you guys know, it has been quite a busy week and a half up here in our nation's capital. So I know this is a very long caption, a very long post that you're seeing in the text, but for those of you that can't watch this video, I wanted you to just have the facts rather than the political rhetoric, because I think that it's important that we deliver the truth about what happened last week and also what's ahead. So I wanted to give you guys a quick breakdown of what happened throughout this speaker's race last week, and also what's happened this week and what's ahead. So we're going to jump right into it. What you have been hearing on the news about the, McCarthy and the 20 and all that stuff, it's been so blown out of proportion. I can't tell you how many media hits have been done that are just not accurate. They're straight up lies. And of course, it was very contentious. I said at the beginning of last week, before the speaker's vote, knowing that there were going to be people who voted against McCarthy, that we would be better for having gone through this process. And I'm sorry, I'm not in my office. I'm actually back here in the ledge pit with the team. Say, hey, Alex. They're still putting things up on the walls and us getting moved into our new office here in Rayburn. So they're busy working on some construction stuff. You can hear the drills behind me. So a lot of people had said, why did you support Kevin McCarthy? And for me, it was simple. We had, for the last several months, been working on a rules package that was the most conservative and transparent rules package that the entire conference had supported, had debated, had put together, had voted on for the last several months. So all this talk about we got all these big wins last week, there's only one change that happened in that rules package from January 1st to January 5th. And I broke it down for you guys. I'm going to flip the camera around so you can see it. But just so you guys are kind of read in on this, what a rules package is. No. We got the thing above the door. Flag above the door. Yeah. Sorry. We're hanging a flag above the door. So the rules package is the document, the framework that the Congress will operate within, right? It dictates how we function as a body up here. So what we saw in years past was Nancy Pelosi, she stripped so many rights away from the membership as a whole, but particularly the minority, which was Republicans. That's why we were so frustrated. We were voting on bills at 2:00 in the morning after having gotten them just a few hours prior. Those were all the things that we were working to fix. And make no mistake, there was no controversy about things like 72 hours to read bills and whatnot. Like I said, for months, we had been debating this. There had been amendments. There had been 3 separate forums in which we had voted on these things. And so having gotten the things that I thought were most important, not just for my constituents, but for people across the country, things like being able to read the bills, things like single issue bills, all those things were already locked in. Everything else beyond that, that's all political. So here, check this out. Here we have, I'm sorry, guys, I got to back up. Here we have on January 1st, all these things were already locked in. We already had the 72-hour rule to read the bills. We ended proxy voting. Keep in mind, I've never proxy voted. I think it's ridiculous. I think you need to show up to get paid. And we ended that. And that was something that both sides used. So I was pretty frustrated about that, but it is done. It is over. And now you have to show up to get paid. I love that. Ends remote committee business. Also, one of those so-called COVID rules. Reinstates the Holman rule, the Gephardt rule, the single-issue bills, establishes the Select Committee on Strategic Competition between U.S. and China and the weaponization of the federal government. We voted on those yesterday. Those both passed, and they are being put together now. Prohibits en bloc suspensions. What a suspension vote is it is a supposedly non-controversial bill that needs 2/3 of the conference as a whole to pass it, and it bypasses the committee process. And that got abused last Congress under Speaker Pelosi because she was en blocking bills that were spending millions and millions of dollars without having gone through the proper process of going through committee. It restores cut-go instead of pay-go. So this is important because pay-go is what the left was doing, and basically saying we're going to spend more money and we were going to quote-unquote promise offsets in the future. Cut-go means you have to identify the offset up front in order to spend that amount of money. Requires 2/3 majority for tax increases. That, Franklin, it's okay. Hi, Frank. Franklin's watching people work. Requires three-fifths majority for tax increases. That was what it was prior to Speaker Pelosi. She got rid of that. We brought it back, and then establishes the subcommittee on COVID pandemic. And there was also, this was included, again, keep in mind, as of January 1st, the motion to vacate the chair with 5 members. It says members. You want to see what the change was? After all those fights, after 15 ballots, that's the single change. We went from 5 to 1. 5 to 1. All these promises that you heard, all these things, that was done in a backroom deal. And so you can understand my frustration, especially when people start raising money off of this. When you're getting fundraising text messages and emails from members saying how they're fighting the machine, when in reality, we already had all these wins, it's very frustrating. So that's why I think it's important that people recognize that it doesn't really matter if it's Speaker McCarthy or Jim Jordan, who Jim Jordan, by the way, supported Kevin McCarthy from the get-go, was with him 15 times and even nominated him. It's important to understand that the facts on the ground are not matching up with what is being heard in the media or on social media. So again, here's what we had prior to the speaker fight. Here's what we got after. And keep in mind that one member could be a Democrat. So there's a lot of people who are really concerned that the Democrats will band together and be pulling this often. Remains to be seen. In the meantime, we've got work to do. So I hope that clarifies the speaker's vote. I hope that clarifies what we're fighting for up here. I understand that there's a lot of trust issues that folks have with Kevin McCarthy. Heck, I have trust issues with the swamp as a whole. But the fact remains is that he has committed to these changes in the rules package. He has operated in good faith. And of the 20 that were opposed to it, those are a lot of my friends. We had some really good conversations, and that's that to me is a sign of good faith. I think that there's been a lot of political nonsense surrounding this issue, and at the end of the day, every single one of the 20 helped give Kevin McCarthy the gavel. They either voted for him or they voted present. And in order to vote present, that means you drop the threshold of the numbers that you need to secure the speaker's gavel. So at the end of the day, every single member in the Republican conference from A to Z helped Speaker McCarthy get that gavel. That is a fact. And I don't care how many different ways you want to spin it, but the name calling hasn't been helpful. Trying to tear each other down has not been helpful. It's time to get to work. We have fought so hard for this majority. Now we have to actually execute on the things that we were sent here to do. On day 1 of this week, we started back. We got sworn in at 2 o'clock in the morning on Saturday. We came back on Monday, and we fired 87,000 IRS agents. We passed this package behind me. We just yesterday, we voted to authorize the 2 select committees on the weaponization of the federal government because, the DOJ has absolutely no role in targeting parents who show up and give a damn about their kids. Also, we voted to establish the Select Committee on China. This is going to cover everything from the embedding of foreign nationals, Chinese foreign nationals, in our higher education system, where we see the theft of intellectual property and research, all the way down to the land grabs. Yesterday, I was speaking with the chairman, soon to be chairman of this committee, and he said that he is very interested in taking on the issues of these land purchases by China. In my district, we have seen that. We are going to be front and center fighting on this. Today, what we are going to be voting on is the Abortion Survivor Protection Act. Really simple. If a child survives an abortion attempt and has been, at that point, born and is alive and struggling to stay alive, that medical health professional has to deliver life-saving care. This is a no-brainer. I don't care if you're Republican or Democrat, independent, whatever. This transcends party politics, because at that point, this is not an abortion issue. This is so beyond the pale. This is a real issue that happens in this country, and we have to take a stand of who we are going to be as a society. And if a child survives an abortion attempt, it needs to be delivered with life-saving care, and it has to be reported. That is what we are doing, and I expect across the board people to support this. I'm very excited about that. And then finally, we are dropping our first bill today. I'm super excited. I will do an entire different Facebook Live on this, but the REINS Act. The REINS Act is reining in the executive branch. The regulatory environment in this country is the silent killer of the American dream. And when I talk about regulations, it's not the sexiest thing in the world, but guess what? The media and these political entities, they always want shiny objects that are super out there, like, hey, pay attention over here, where the really nefarious things are over here happening. And so if you want to take on the swamp, you got to start with the regulatory environment, because it's the unelected bureaucrats that dwell in the basements of buildings all over DC that are really fundamentally taking over American way of life. And so this bill is the first step in getting them under control. I've been working with Jim Jordan and Jamie Comer and Tom Emmer on a regulatory reform effort that we are going to take on this year and next. Super, super excited. And I just want to say thank you guys. I have gotten thousands of phone calls, emails. I actually pretty much stayed off of social media by and large for the last couple of days, just because we've been working so much, and I think the temperature needed to come down. We need cool, calm heads, people who are going to be willing to take the heat and the lumps, because what we see up here is very different than what is portrayed in the media. It's very different than what is portrayed on social media. And I can't tell you how many people have reached out saying, you know what, this is embarrassing. We have to be united, because at the end of the day, if we are going to take down the Biden regime, if we are going to take on the progressive left's agenda that is rooted in nothing more than dependency and control, we have to be united. We have to be united. That's the only way we take them on. And we can be united. So no more name calling, no more of this stuff. It's not helpful. We were just like any family. You know, there's a little bit of dysfunction, but at the end of the day, we all need to love each other. We need to have each other's backs. And so, like I said last week at the beginning, before the speaker's race started, we'd be better for it. It's messy, but we are on the other side, and it's time to get to work. I appreciate everybody so much, and thank you for your feedback, good, bad, indifferent. But one way you can help us get this information out there is to share this video. That is so critically important. I think that you're going to see a new attitude here in Congress. I truly believe that Kevin McCarthy is serious about pushing back and holding the Senate to a new standard. We have to play hardball with the Senate. So I'm really excited about that. And for those that don't believe anything that I'm saying right now, I have given you the timestamps as well as the black and white documents, the bill itself with the timestamps that show that all these things that people are saying, oh, the 20 got, well, we already had them. So I appreciate you guys. Thank you so much. Let's unite. Let's be one. Let's take our country back, because we have a nation to save. God bless. Take care. Talk to you soon.